So thank you everyone for joining our session today. This is the Microsoft 365 Knowledge Series webinar about setting up your OneDrive. We will really give an overview of UDC's OneDrive as well as share best practices. And I have the C.A.L team here today that will go ahead and help lead this presentation. So I'll go ahead and get started with our agenda. First, we'll go over C.A.L services and then have you meet the team. I know we have a lot of new guests on the call today, so we hope that gives you a good overview of what we do here at C.A.L. We'll also go over what is OneDrive for business. How is that different from your personal OneDrive that you may have on your computer? Also, what are the benefits of using OneDrive, especially here at UDC? If you are moving from computer to computer, like many of us are, I have a computer at home, I have a computer at work, I can just use OneDrive to sync all my files really easily. We'll also talk about how to access UDC's OneDrive for Business online, as well as on your computer, status icons that you may see, what they mean, syncing issues, how to remedy those, as well as different OneDrive options and best practices. We will have time for Q&A at the end, but if you do have any questions, feel free to go ahead and put those in the chat box, or you can raise your virtual hand and we'll go ahead and call on you during the presentation. So let me just give a brief overview of C.A.L. C.A.L stands for the Center for the Advancement of Learning. We are a faculty-facing organization here on campus. We do offer daily office hours. These are on virtual calls with Zoom or in person if you do want to meet with us on the 6th floor of building 4250 or 71 Van Ness. We also have One Button Studios and immersive technologies that you can start integrating into your courses. We do take consultation requests as well. Let's say you want access to Adobe stock images for your class. You can send a consultation request. I'll put the links for these in just a moment. We also have professional development offerings every month, and look out for our C.A.L e-newsletter. This usually is sent the first week, so you can expect that early next week. This will go over all of our PD offerings for the month. We also have certifications, so OTC or Blackboard Ultra Essentials Training, CDFLC, which is Course Design Faculty Learning Community, OBC, which is the online, what is that, Julian? Online.
That's our online builder certificate.
There you go. You know, I've been talking all day, so I just lost it. Okay, thank you, Julian. And also multimodal educator. So if you do want to get HyFlex trained to use one of our HyFlex classrooms, that is our multimodal educator certification. And last but not least, learning designs and learning science. This is a great big ask for a lot of our faculty. So best practices and expertise across learning modalities. So I'll go ahead and introduce myself if you don't know. My name is David Cerna. I am our instructional technology consultant as well as our immersive tech tutor here on the C.A.L team. So if you do want to develop any dynamic visual experiences to help students learn better, that includes using ThingLink for 360-degree images and videos, or any of our VR technology, feel free to go ahead and send an email to me. And Julian, if you want to go next.
Absolutely. I'm Julian King. I'm our learning design coordinator over here at the C.A.L team. Also, I'm the gradebook whiz. So if you ever need help setting up that gradebook in Blackboard, just so you can aggregate some data so we can make sure that we're assessing students properly and you're getting all the data out of it that you need, please feel free to send me an email.
And Dominique.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dominique Laws, and I am the course makeover, do-it-yourself kind of guru. If you're looking to enhance the look and feel of your Blackboard shell or the content that's within your course, I am the lady that you would meet with, and I look forward to working with many of you over the next school year.
Thank you, Dominique, and thank you, Julian. So I also want to introduce Pat Cottrell. He's not on the call today, but he is known as Mr. Blackboard. So any questions or concerns pertaining to Blackboard, especially logistic questions, he is a great person to go ahead and contact. Thank you, everyone. So we'll go ahead and get started in the chat box. You can also unmute, but how would you rate your familiarity with using OneDrive from 1 to 5? You can put 1 low or 5 as an expert. So just let me know in the chat box. I see a 2. See a 3, about a 1, a 3. Thank you, everyone. That gives us a good feel for this session today. And if you're not an expert, it's completely fine. You are in the right place today, right? So we do hope that you leave here just knowing more about OneDrive and also some of the instances or uses that we use OneDrive here on the team that can also help you in your own course. Thank you, everyone. And with that, I'll go ahead and hand it off to Julian.
All right. So biggest thing is, what is OneDrive for Business? Some of you may have heard of OneDrive before, and we know that you can also have OneDrive personal accounts, but specifically, what is OneDrive for Business? Particularly how we use it at UDC. So one of the main differences for OneDrive for Business is that you get a lot more storage. It's the business version. We're using it strictly at UDC, and it comes with a lot more storage, as well as some of the Google Microsoft suites. I'm sorry, Office 365 suites. A lot of different devices today. Microsoft 365 suites that we'll also talk about later on in this thing. But I think that is one of the biggest pieces of the main difference is your storage. Your personal storage only is maybe what, 5 gigabytes, about 5 gigabytes here at UDC. With the OneDrive business account, you have increased storage up to 1 terabyte, which is just a lot of storage. You probably won't use that your entire time here, but that storage goes a long way when you're talking about your videos and some audio clips and different artifacts that you may be having for your class. It backs up and protects your files. I think that's also one of the biggest things, that when we're moving from computer to computer, especially when using your UDC computer, you're going back home to use your main computer, you have your personal laptop on the side, it backs up and protects those files, and they make it accessible through all of your devices. So if your OneDrive is set up properly, you're able to access all of those different artifacts and content, no matter what device you're using, as long as it's set up properly. We will also show you later on how to set up that OneDrive. Collaboration. So us on the Cal team, we do a lot of things collaboratively, and we use OneDrive a lot, whether it's for presentations, whether it's for projects. And even for this one, David's able to share something with us. We're all able to collaborate on an artifact in live time and be able to provide our input for different things we have going on. And last but not least, that Office 365 suite we talked about. So that gives you access to Outlook, Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, just a few of the many tools that are in Office 365. And a big reason why that OneDrive is important, because all of those different tools can be saved into that OneDrive.
And, Julian, since we're talking about one of the benefits, does it integrate with Blackboard?
So absolutely. So the great thing about it is, and the great thing Pat has been working extremely hard on, is making sure that OneDrive integrates seamlessly into Blackboard, and that now students are able to collaborate across documents live in Blackboard. And we're also, not this presentation, but we do have some resources on that as well in the future, if you're interested about allowing your students to collaborate in real time using OneDrive in your Blackboard courses.
So thank you for that, Julian. So what I'll do first is I want to go over how to access OneDrive for Business on the web. So I do primarily use, especially with different computers, I love to use the web-based version of OneDrive. So I'll talk about accessing OneDrive online. You will log in through your single sign-on account with Microsoft, so just like you would for anything with UDC. I'll talk about the Microsoft Office apps that are available to you and where to find those. A big one is changing your profile photo. I do get this question a lot from faculty. So I'll show you the one place where you can change your profile photo, which will go across the UDC community. So on Outlook, on Word, anything that you're sharing, that profile photo will be seen, as well as an interface overview and just some tips that I have for myself that I can share with the group here. If you do have any questions at any time, just let me know in the chat box. I am looking at that. So let's go ahead and do a walkthrough. So the easiest way to access OneDrive online is through My UDC. So here's my UDC page, and on the left side on the toolbar, it says Quick Launch. If you click on that, this is a really fast way to access OneDrive. So you won't see it at first. If you click on Load More, right here it says Office 365 Dashboard. Once I click on that, that will open up my Office 365 dashboard. If you're not logged in, it will ask you to log in with your single sign-on account. So let me go ahead and do that right now. So I'll sign out. So I can sign into my account. Here's my david.cerna@udc.edu account. I'll go ahead and click on that. And then it'll take me to this sign on page. I'll go ahead and log in. I've already logged in with my phone before, and I'll just click on yes, so I don't always have to log in for this. And that will take me to this Office 365 dashboard. Now, this is different from OneDrive, but I want to go over what are the differences and how I use these. So my Office 365 dashboard shows all the Office Suite products that I've used recently. As you can see here, I have the PowerPoint. I have a calendar here. I have web conferencing tools, another PowerPoint that I've done earlier. You'll see all of these most used items for Microsoft Office Suite on the left as well. So if I want to create a new Word document, I can just click on that and then new blank document. So this is a really good dashboard to create Office Suite products very quickly and easily. But let's go over OneDrive. And as Julian said before, think about OneDrive as a hard drive, but online. That's a good way to think about it. So if I click on the grid right here in the upper left corner, you'll see one of the first apps I can choose, OneDrive right here. Now I do recommend bookmark this. So I already starred this right here at the top, and I bookmarked it as OneDrive, so I can easily access it really quickly. But again, you can access this through My UDC, Quick Launch. I'll load more, go to Office 365 dashboard. If you already haven't logged in, it will ask you to log in just like I showed you before. Click on the grid pattern in the upper left corner, and then click on OneDrive. So you'll see that my OneDrive looks like a traditional hard drive online. These are all my files that I have. I have different folders as well as those individual pieces right here. So this is my OneDrive account that you can see. I do recommend that you bookmark this so you can just go straight away to there. Any quick questions about this? Okay, I haven't lost anyone yet. That's good. Okay, so let's go right here in the upper left corner, we have a grid pattern. You can also find all of the most common apps for Microsoft Office and also Microsoft right here. That includes a whiteboard. Here on the CAL team, we use a planner to stay organized with our different tasks. Also forms, this is a great one to do a quick survey or a quick comprehension check. OneNote is also excellent for organizing notes for your class, Excel, etc. So these are all here on the left. Now let's go over changing your profile photo. This is a big one, and it's quite easy and quite simple now. So in the upper right corner, you'll see my face right there. If I click on this profile photo, you'll see a little camera icon. If I click on there, I can upload a new photo. So if I go to upload a new photo, I can find something from my computer. Let me put this one. So once I do this, let me upload the second one right here. There we go. And click on apply. Now this will show up across all my Microsoft Office Suite products as well as my Outlook calendar. It's just that one location. Again, to find that, you just click on the upper right corner. Click right here on the photo. So I have a photo here. If you don't have a photo, you'll still see that camera icon. Click on that camera icon and you can upload a new photo. This photo will show up across all my Office products and also on Outlook. There's also a way to change the theme. If you don't like this theme here, if you click on this settings icon or gear icon in the upper right corner, there are some different themes here. So let me go ahead and put the sunset one, right? So I can also change it to the sunset theme, which will show up across my Microsoft OneDrive and Office. Okay, if there are no questions, that was just a brief overview of finding this on Office. Another thing I like about this is I can easily search for a PowerPoint or a document. So for example, I have my UDC PD calendar. If I search right here, it's just like searching on your computer, on your regular hard drive. I can search on my OneDrive, I can find it really quickly, and it will just open up in a new tab. As you can see, I've been working on our PD calendar for the next month as well, and I can find that really quickly. So anytime that you are using different computers on campus or going from work to home, remember that OneDrive is a great resource for you. You don't have to even have a USB drive or worry about things not syncing. It will automatically save and sync, and I can also share with anyone on campus. I can share with my team really easily and quickly. Thank you. And with that, I'll hand it off back to Julian, who will go over the computer version.
All right, so give me 1 second so I can share my screen. And can you all see my screen?
Not yet. Now we can see it.
All right, see, that's why I have to ask these questions. All right, so if you're logging on to OneDrive from your actual computer, most computers, if not all computers, have OneDrive, the OneDrive application already downloaded. You just need to be able to sign in. So you would look down at your icon tab, you'll see this gray cloud. As I hover over it, you see it says OneDrive Personal. As you click on it, my OneDrive Personal is already connected. Most people have an Outlook account, or, if you use Microsoft and different things, I play video games. So my Microsoft to my Xbox is linked to my personal. But to link your UDC account, you want to come over here, click the settings icon, and let's click on settings. So like I said, my Xbox account is already added, and you see how many gigabytes of storage I have for a personal account. To add my UDC, I want to come here to add an account and set up my OneDrive. Go ahead and type in your UDC email, and then we go ahead and click on sign in. In this folder, it's going to ask you what the OneDrive folder, where you want it to be added to. I'll say I'll use the folder that's currently on. And I'm not going to watch everything upload, but I do want you to see that as it starts loading up and some of the questions you go through, then you'll be able to kind of upload all of your UDC documents. All of those will get uploaded to here. It gives you the option to add items, drag and move them into a OneDrive folder, depending on what you may want to take over with you. It allows you to share files. And then we're also going to talk about these icons a little later, but as you're sharing your files and as these files are in your OneDrive, you'll be able to see whether things are online only, strictly to your device, and whether they're always available, whether it's online or offline. And the mobile app, I don't use mobile app, you may, but if you're interested in learning more about the mobile app, reach out to us and we can walk you through what that is. So once I've clicked through all the next steps, you see it say your OneDrive is ready for you. So I'll be able to open my OneDrive folder, and you'll see all of my documents as well. My Microsoft team files, notebooks, all of my own PowerPoints and Excel sheets, Microsoft Word documents. And also it'll start syncing. So you notice that now my cloud at the bottom is blue. So my OneDrive for my UDC, now I notice that these files are starting to sync to my UDC. All of my PowerPoints and different things of that nature should come up. And I'm able to view them online, move them to a recycle, or just be able to open up the folder in general. So thank you. So, I hope, do I have any questions regarding that, whether it's signing into your OneDrive via your computer? Thanks, David, for pulling that up. So if we don't, we'll get into these status icons. So as you see, once your icon goes blue, that means that your OneDrive is set up and is synced to your UDC account. Following that, here's some different icons that you'll see that will let you know where certain artifacts are as far as being synced to your OneDrive. So that gray cloud, like we talked about earlier, means that you are not synced into your OneDrive and you do need to sign in. And if you notice that, if you're starting to see that repeatedly, or you realize you signed in once and it keeps signing you out, please reach out to us. We can kind of work through those challenges and those issues as well. When you see the red X, it means that a file or a folder cannot be synced. Normally, this is happening when a file is being used at the time. You see that a lot with your Microsoft and your PowerPoints. If you're currently working on it and you're trying to sync it, it will not sync. You have to save it and close it first, and then it will be able to sync that file. And then lastly, if you see that you're rotating arrows, that just signifies that a sync is in progress. Normally it takes a couple seconds, just depending on how big your files are. Next slide, Dave. And then these are other status icons that you'll see once you're in your OneDrive and you'll be able to see these icons beside different documents. One is our just green check mark with white in the background, pretty much says that this is a file that's available locally, but it can be changed to online to free up space. Because you have so much space, you really won't need to move a lot of things to strictly online, but that is kind of a preference. We do say make sure these things are just on your OneDrive. That way you can access them across different devices. Your next green arrows that file is available locally and will take up your hard drive space. Especially with our UDC computers, you want to minimize the amount of space you take up on them because they will start to lag a bit the more artifacts you have on them. So try to keep everything in your OneDrive as possible, or as much as possible, just so your UDC computer doesn't slow down any. Then we talk about our blue icon indicates that a file is only available online, meaning that if you are not connected to Wi-Fi, you will not be able to get to that file. And then lastly, our share icon, and I know we'll talk a little more about this further on, that just means that a file is uploaded and it's being shared with others or another group within our UDC community. And do I have any questions pertaining to any of our icons before we move on? All right, I think we're good. Okay, I'll go ahead and pass it back to Dave.
Excellent. Thank you, Julian. So I'll go over some syncing issues. Now, these don't happen very often for me, but I'll go over some troubleshooting tips on if this does happen on your end. So I'll talk about syncing on personal versus UDC computers. I do recommend using OneDrive. You can also use the web-based version, like we both talked about. Restarting OneDrive usually fixes most of the issues. Check that your accounts are connected. Select different folders to sync. So I do recommend keeping organized. I know some professors do this every semester, right? Kind of a spring cleaning, just to make sure things are organized and also removing different things. And then also how to resolve different conflicts. So first one, a big one that I find that some faculty have is they are using their personal OneDrive account on a UDC computer. So just double check that when you are signing into this, you're signing into your University of District of Columbia account and not using your personal account. Now, of course, you can log into your personal account on a UDC computer, but we don't want those conflicts to happen. So for example, for me, all my personal things, OneDrive personal account, nothing to do with work, but everything that has to do with work and my job, I use on my UDC OneDrive account. So there's no conflict. And I only log into my UDC OneDrive account when I'm using my work computer, just so there are no conflicts involved with that. So here's a quick walkthrough video of troubleshooting some conflicts. And then afterwards, I'll go through these one by one. So let's watch. Now I'm going to walk through how to sync your UDC account. So when I go to my File Explorer, you'll see right here I have my personal OneDrive, but I want to put my UDC OneDrive on my computer. So if I go to the lower right and click on this icon, and let's go to the gear icon right here, and then click on Settings. Once I click on Settings, I want to add my UDC account, so I'll go to Add an Account right here. And that will open up this pop-up screen. Let's put our UDC email and login. And that will do the Microsoft single sign-on. Now, once that is configured, you'll see right here on the left side, I have my personal OneDrive and now my UDC OneDrive, which includes all of my files. So what I did in this example, I had a syncing issue with my personal and my UDC OneDrive. So I added my UDC OneDrive account to my computer here. So step by step, you can quit and also restart OneDrive. That usually solves my issues that I'm having. So if you can see right there, look at the first arrow, number 1. In the lower right corner, you should see that OneDrive icon, which looks like a blue cloud. If I click on that, number 2 will pop up and I can just quit OneDrive. So once I quit this and I can re-sign or restart it, this usually solves most of the issues that I may be having with the syncing. Also select different folders to sync. So like what we talked about earlier, the more organized you are, the better. So maybe I can do this by class or by week or by subject. These are different ways you can select different folders to sync when you are connecting your UDC OneDrive account. So let's say on my home computer, I have 5 different folders for 5 of my different classes that I'm teaching, I can go ahead and just sync those folders instead of everything on my personal computer. So that can really help to keep the memory down, but also just to sync specific folders instead of every single item. So let's watch another quick video and then I'll walk through this step by step. Now I'm going to walk you through on how to select which folders to sync. So if I go to the lower right corner, I have my UDC OneDrive right here. Let's click on that. Go to the upper right corner and click on Settings. Once I click on Settings, you'll see right here, click on the Account tab, and then you can choose which folders to sync. So if I click here, you'll see that I have all my folders set to sync. If I don't want to include, let's say, pictures or recordings, I can just unclick that and press OK. So I do see a message in the chat box. There may be some images that we can't see. So if you can't see those, I will upload this shortly to our YouTube channel. So I will put the playlist link for that as well in the chat box. So just look for that shortly. I'll go ahead and upload that so you can also pinpoint and watch specific parts of the webinar. But also you can email us. I'll put our link at the end. I'll do that right now as well. So you can email us at calhelpdesk@udc.edu. One of us will be there to help you and to guide you through this process as well. And resolving conflicts. So if you do see any issues when you are syncing, if you click on that lower right icon, you can see right here, I do have a sync issue in my OneDrive. So once I click on that, it will solve the issue. So right here, I say scenario 1, different parts of the same document. If I just click on resolve, that will go ahead and resolve that issue. Sometimes what happens if I lose connection to my Wi-Fi? Maybe something I put there is not syncing correctly. So once I click on that resolve button, it should go ahead and resolve that issue. And Dominique will go over some OneDrive options. Thank you.
Thanks, David. So some of the great features that OneDrive has is the sharing settings. So actually, I will, if you could stop sharing, David, I'll share my screen really quickly and show everyone some of the features. Thank you. Share screen. Okay, so can everyone see my screen now? Okay, perfect. So version history or versioning history is one of the great features that OneDrive gives us to make sure that if you're working collaboratively like we tend to do in C.A.L, that you maintain the consistency of your files and documents. And say, for example, if Julian, myself, or David are working in a particular file and one of us accidentally deletes something or add some information that's no longer relevant, we can go through and find the last time that it was modified and then select that version history. So the way in which you do that is there are ellipses at the side of each document. I'm actually on my Mac computer today, but this will look the same if you're on a Mac or if you're on a PC. And you would go to version history once you select those ellipses. It's then going to say how many versions that you have. And if I wanted to download this, then I could do so. I'm going to give you an example. This particular file has a couple versions. So you see there's 14 versions of this file. If I wanted to restore it to the first version, I could click the ellipses here and then select restore. So that's one of the ways in which you would be able to pull that file back and use it for your live changes that you'd like to make. Another feature that's really awesome is the sharing feature. So here, there's this little icon, and I could select share or select that to send it out via email. I can select here different capacities, as in anyone with this link can open this document. Only people in the University of the District of Columbia with this link can open this document. Only people with existing access or specific people that I want. I also can select whether or not they can edit or they can only view the document. And I can also set an expiration date and a password as well. And those really come into handy if you're looking to set up files for your course and you don't want students to be able to have access to them after the course date has ended, or if there's something special that you want only specific people to have access to. So those are really awesome features. And then also, as you can see here, I have folders. So I really like to keep my content and information, depending on what it is, in a folder so I know where everything is. I have all of my feedback here, images that I've collected for different professional development, and then my chat files, my personal files, and these are just miscellaneous. So having a folder structure really allows you to maintain content and keep it in the same space. It also helps you to see when the last time you updated something was, and really just keep consistency across your content. So I will stop sharing. Thank you, David, and turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Dominique. That was great. So I'll go ahead and go back to the PowerPoint. We do have some best practice tips that we want to go over just to summarize everything from today. So Dominique, if you'd like to go over these.
Yes, so some of the additional best practice tips that we have are to replace your USB drive. I can't tell you the last time I had a little thumb drive that I used. OneDrive has become my way in which I save all my documents and files, and I know that it's always with me via my computer, via my smartphone or smart device, my iPad. I can access it anywhere, and I don't have to go searching or digging in my purse or my bag to find my little thumb drive. I saw Julian still uses his, and I appreciate it, but I'm so glad to be free of that. Making sure that you keep your folders and file names short and direct. So for example, if you have courses, say you have a history course, History 500 would be the folder name, and then you could designate, or even History 500 Fall or FA. That means that if you're teaching that class in the fall, that would be your fall folder, and then all of that content within there would be designated as such. You want to make sure that you're keeping your file name short, because as the file name and the folder names gets too long, when you start to try and click and open them, it can cause errors, as David mentioned before, and it can also cause the file to break, depending on if you have an over number of characters in your file name and the extension that you're using. You want to also make sure that the folders you share are available to other groups online. So that means making sure that when you share the link, you set up the proper credentials so everyone has access, and you don't have to go and look for something or provide access if you're not available. If you're on vacation or sabbatical, you don't want someone to come and call you because they can't access your folder. You want to make sure when you're sharing links, you limit edit access to specific people or groups. So as we mentioned before, you can set the designation as to how you would like people to have access, whether or not they can edit the document or whether or not they can view it, because we know sometimes content is proprietary, it's confidential. You don't want people to be able to edit files that they don't need to edit, but they do need to view. And lastly, you want to have a schedule for reviewing and cleaning your OneDrive. So we know, just like with hard documents, there's a recommended time of keeping those files based on what they're used for. From 1 to 10 years, you might need to keep certain files. So you want to keep that in mind in terms of your OneDrive and how long that document is relevant for. We recommend every 2 years updating content and information, because information changes all the time. And every year there are new tips and tools and things that would make your content relevant. So making sure that you do that on a consistent basis.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dominique. That was a great summary of why we use OneDrive, especially on the team. And you can think about for your students, for your classes. This is a really great way to stay organized and just make sure that everything is synced and there are no issues. I did put some links in the chat box. If you have any questions for us, please email us at calhelpdesk@udc.edu. You can also sign up for our upcoming professional development and office hours. Again, like I said before, if you go to our YouTube channel, right there, click on the link, you'll see all of our YouTube webinars that are right there. I will try to upload today's, later today, I'll try to upload that, as well as our CAL website, udc.edu/CAL. Now, if you do have any questions, feel free to ask us. I saw a question from Dr. Brown. I have a question about the mobile version. What is a use case? That's a great question. So I'll go ahead and share from my phone. And I want to show you how I use my OneDrive app from my phone. So in just a second, everyone should be able to see my screen. Hold on. Okay, so here's my phone app, and I'll go ahead and open up my OneDrive. So here's my OneDrive account. It looks very similar. Let me move myself out of the way. So let me reshare that. Of course, it's not working now. But my OneDrive account on my phone, I'll try one more time. And if it doesn't work, I'll just go ahead and share later. Excellent. Is that working? No. Well,
It did, but then it went away.
then it went away, right? Let me try again. Okay, so it's not working now, but what I'll talk about for this is how I use it with Pat. So for example, Pat and I, we take a lot of pictures on our phones, and sometimes it's really cumbersome to upload all those photos. Let's say email it to each other and then upload it to OneDrive. So if you have the OneDrive app on your phone, it's really easy to create a shared folder. So what Pat does is he creates these event folders and then he shares access with me. So imagine if you want to collect photos from your students that they take outside or on a field trip, you can create that shared folder with you and your students. And what that looks like, and I'll just show it manually from my phone. So he created a shared folder here. And here's a shared folder where I can just simply upload the photos from my phone. I don't have to do 3 or 4 steps. It's just immediately I can just upload photos from my phone. And he can also do the same. So this is a really quick way when you do have a task or an activity where you want to collect photos and everyone takes a photo from their phone, you can just use the OneDrive app to just upload it directly there. So that's a really good use case for using the OneDrive app. And it looks the same as from your computer. So if I do have any files or PDF documents on my phone, I can also just upload those directly as well. And even in crunch times, I've had to use my phone to edit PowerPoints. For example, I can do the same thing from the OneDrive app. I can even edit a PowerPoint or a Word document directly from my phone. And that's quite helpful. Let's say if my computer crashes or the Wi-Fi is down, I can still have that edit access directly from there. Are there any other questions from the group here?
Hello.
Oh, hello, Terry.
Hi. Yeah, can you talk a little bit more, please, about the schedule for reviewing and cleaning?
Yes.
Because I set up my OneDrive when I came almost 3 years ago without much instruction or direction. So I would like to really reorganize it. And any tips about that?
Yeah, and Dominique and Julian, if you want to also chime in.
Sure. So
Yeah.
the recommended kind of time frame is, again, to keep files updated if they're older than 2.5 years. So I think if you last updated your files when you started in 3 years ago, you'd want to go through and see what is still relevant to the course that you teach and what is still active in the course structure that you have laid out. from there, you can set up a time, like typically in my mailbox or my inbox, when I'm going through and deleting items or archiving information, I go in once a month and check and see what files and information are still valid for the projects that I'm working on or the information. I would say every 6 months, go through and kind of delete if you know that you don't use it or you haven't touched it in a long time, and just check those. So I would say monthly, 6 months, and then every 2 years would be a good schedule to follow.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
and you know, other professors, what they do is at the end of the semester or prior to the start of the new semester, that's a really good natural transition point. Remember what Julian showed earlier too, you can also save these locally on your computer. So as you delete these off OneDrive, let's say it's the web-based version, you can also save specific files on your computer there, so you can still have it, right? Any other questions? That was a great one. Thank you. So do feel free to go ahead and schedule some office hours with us. I want to make it easy since we are ending our call today. So I will share the office hours link with everyone here. And these are the office hours that we provide in person and also online. So let me go ahead and put the link in the chat box. And if you
David and
are,
Dominique,
go ahead,
or
Erica.
could you talk about the file breaking a little bit more?
So if your files are breaking, that's probably a syncing issue. Does this happen when you're uploading a file from your computer?
I just started using OneDrive on Monday,
Okay.
so nothing's broken for me yet. But when
Mhm.
Dominique mentioned about files breaking, that was something I thought I should know about.
Sure. So that typically happens if, for example, you are syncing or uploading a file from one computer to another, and you haven't closed it prior to trying to sync it, or the file name is too long. So if it's more than 15 characters, that can cause an issue with how the file will function when you're trying to open it through the cloud. So we recommend keeping them short, concise, trying to limit them to no more than 15 characters, if possible.
Yeah, some great tips there. Since we do have a moment or two, I do want to show how to connect OneDrive or upload something from OneDrive within Blackboard. So let me go ahead and just walk you through that very briefly. So remember, OneDrive does act as a hard drive. It's just everything is there online. So if I do want to add content here, let's go to the plus sign. And you'll see right here, it says cloud storage. So if I click on cloud storage, I'll click on OneDrive since that's what we use here at UDC. And I'll connect to my OneDrive. So I'll go ahead and sign in. I'm already signed in from that single sign-on. So as you can see here, I have all of my files on OneDrive and I can choose something really easily to upload. So let me go ahead and just put this PowerPoint that I have. So I'll just go ahead and select it and then I'll click on import and you'll see what it does right away. It just imports from my OneDrive into Blackboard. And then once it's done, I can make it visible to students and then they're able to see this PowerPoint right here, just pop up on Blackboard. So this is a really easy way. If you're used to using your USB drive and then importing that into Blackboard, you can just do this directly and just upload it from your cloud storage, which is OneDrive here. Julian, anything to add?
Yeah, and this is perfect for faculty that teach multiple sections of different courses. Because I know working with a lot of faculty, there's a lot of folders on your desktop that may not be synced to OneDrive and that you have to go through those folders every year. Being able to sync those into your OneDrive and then strictly upload them straight to Blackboard will save you a lot of time and just a lot of trial and error as far as maybe losing a document here and there, or even as Dominique talks about trying to clean those things out monthly, 6 months, and every 2 years as well.
Yeah, so you can see here, I uploaded PDF just as Julian was talking under 30 seconds. And then once the students and you click it, it'll just show in Blackboard just like this. So it's a really easy and nice way. Keep things organized in folders by class, by date, whichever works best for you. And then you can just sync that directly within Blackboard. Right?
I have a question about that.
Yes, go ahead, Erica.
So let's say, well, OneDrive is supposed to retain, I guess, whatever is your latest version of your document. So if you upload it to Blackboard, but then work on it again in some other platform, is it also going to give the most updated version to Blackboard, or is it just the version that got uploaded at that point?
So just the version that got uploaded at that point, but I'm so glad you asked that because I can also share the link. So great question. So here, for example, I have a link to this PD calendar. So let's just imagine it's an Excel spreadsheet I want to share in my class. If I go to the share link right here, and this is the copy link, of course I can change that. So let me go ahead and click there. So let's say I just want to do viewing access, but for this one, they can edit it. So what I'll do is I'll just copy this link. And then if I go back to Blackboard, click on the plus sign and then create, you'll see in Blackboard, there's an option to just add the link right here. So click on this and I can put the URL. And then I'll just title it UDC PD calendar shared. And I'll click on save. So what I did earlier, what I showed everyone here is I uploaded this version of the document, but if I want to upload a live version and I want to share the access, you can just do what I did right now. So once the students or you click on that link, then this is the live document where we can all collaborate in real time. So that's a way you can do it. But let's just say it's a static document, like my syllabus or just this list of webinars. It doesn't need to be constantly updated. Then that's just like a static document there. A live document, again, click on the plus sign, create, and then click on link. And I can go ahead and put the link for that I found on my OneDrive right here. So share, copy, and then I can title it. And then that will show up right here. Erica, did that kind of answer your question?
Most definitely.
That was a great one. Thank you, Erica. Any other questions that we can answer? So with that, I do want to share our PD calendar. I did put the link in there. If you are on your phone, you can also scan the QR code that I'll put up on the screen. So another thing I like to do, as everyone probably knows here, is I like to share things with a QR code. So here I'm on Chrome, and this is our PD calendar, which I'll put in the chat box. But if your students or you have a phone and I want to share it quickly, on Chrome in the upper right corner, there's a share icon. I click on that and create QR code. So if you do put your phone to the computer screen right now, like you're taking a picture, that will open up the QR code reader. You can go ahead and click on that and you'll see all of our upcoming events for the month. So that's a really easy way you can share documents with the share icon, or you can share different kinds of websites. My cat is coming on screen now. So I do want to go over a couple ones that we are offering this week and this month. On September 2nd, on Friday, the library team is offering a How to Get Started webinar with the library. We also have a great panel on September 8th with Dr. Peter Michael Plord from the Community College. And the panel will be talking about lessons learned from the pandemic and a pre-award proposal process. This is one of our new lunchtime learning webinar series with Cynthia Mohammed from the Office of University Research. And then last but not least, let's go over Julian King on September 15th on Thursday. He will have his great Ultra Gradebook 101 with the Gradebook Whiz webinar. So I hope that you can join us for that. Right. Awesome. So thank you everyone again for coming here today. If you do have any questions, use our email, calhelpdesk@udc.edu. I will go ahead and just put up our screen right here. If you do want to meet with any member of the team, you can also send us an email directly. So thank you everyone. I hope you have a great day and a great rest of your fall semester, and we will see you very soon. Goodbye everyone.